This is The Gorge. This is a podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves and overanalyze.
We're talking about Persona 5.
We're talking about Persona 5.
Who cares? Who cares? We don't need to do the fucking intro. We're talking about Persona 5. It finally happened. Persona 5 finally came out. We got to play it. We beat it. We beat it at time and a half, like we said we would do before we talked about it. I'm slightly further ahead of you, but I took a break for a week, and so I think you're catching up to me in Replay City.
I just did. I won't mention the dungeon now because we're not in spoiler territory yet. But
I think we should try to keep this whole first. I know we've been talking about this like multiple podcasts, so like as spoiler, like we'll try to keep all plot spoilers at the very end of the podcast. So most of this is going to be non-spoilers until the very, very end. So hey, you can tune in. Don't worry.
So I was it was funny because last night I was listening to a bunch of our older episodes. And I was skipping around one of them. I can't remember which episode it was, but we were talking about. It was an early one. We were talking about Persona 5
and
how it won't come out. Like, I think it was actually the Kingdom Hearts episode where we were talking about, like, games that won't come out.
Yeah,
and, like,
because Kingdom Hearts 3 is never coming out.
And you were like, Persona 5 is never coming out.
Yeah, you're right. And then it happened.
Well, we just got it. You saw it. We got the news about Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
Listen.
That are like,
no,
within the next 3 years.
Bullshit. You know that, and then I responded to that with the picture from Memento saying, "Don't believe his lies." Okay? Tetsuya Nomura is a professional liar. That's what he does. That's why Square Enix pays him at this point, okay? All he does is lie and save their reputation a little bit. So no, Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake are not happening anytime soon. But Persona 5 did! Oh my god!
Yes! Oh!
Wow. And boy, did it ever happen super hard, right? Like,
oh my god.
Holy shit. Persona happened with, like, the force of a star exploding. It was just 1 minute there was no Persona, and then it was there. I still have moments. I've now beaten it, like we said, about a time and a half and then some. I still have moments when I'm playing it where I go, like, I'm playing Persona 5 right now.
Right? Yeah, like sometimes it'll hit you.
Yeah. Like, it took 8 years for the next, like, proper installment of Persona to come out. 8! I was like a young 20-something at the time. I had just started college. And, like, now I'm, like, an actual grown-up. I'm, like, one of the adults in this fucking game. Except not, I don't think nearly as horrible, probably.
No.
I'm, like, an adult now. Like, a straight-up grown-up, like, in between these games. It's really bizarre to, like...
It's a little, like, intimate, like, weird to be playing Persona 5, like...
And to try and go at it, like, it's so hard to go at it, like, be objective about it. Like, it took me a while to kind of unpack the fact that, like I was playing the game and I just wanted to love it unconditionally, and I do almost love it unconditionally. But so, like, I'm trying to, like, play the game and be like, man, I love this game, and there's, like, a little voice in the back of my head going, yeah, but there's, like, a few things, you know? And so, like, it was really hard to just kind of take a step back and be like, listen, just because it took 8 years to come out doesn't make it flawless. And
well, and it's... You're like, and it's one of those things where, like, we've been drumming up the hype for this game between ourselves for forever, you know?
Right. Well, yeah.
And it's like, the minute you find something to nitpick about it, you're like, oh, no.
But I waited so long!
No, why aren't... But then you step back and you're like...
It's still a damn good game, but, like...
it's not going to ruin the fucking game just because one little thing is not what you planned it to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have, like, a few... We'll talk about that in just a second. Can you two please not trip over any computer cords while I'm talking about Persona 5, okay, dogs? Thank you. But, like, I have, like, a few nitpicks, and we'll get to it. But, I mean, for the most part, the game is, like, good. Like, it's great. It's
a Game of the Year contender, for sure.
Almost perfect, but it just misses the perfection mark, by just a bit. It kind of stumbled at the finish line, but it's as close to perfect as you're gonna get without being Persona 4.
It stumbled at the finish line, but it didn't, like, fall.
It didn't lose the race. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, it's still a game where as soon as I beat it, I started it back up again.
Exactly, which is what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, as soon as I was done with P5, I was like, well, time to play P5 again.
Yep. boy, playing P5 was fun. What's next on the agenda? Oh, P5.
Oh, it's P5 again. Cool. I love P5. And I mean, part of it, what really helps it along is that the game is just so goddamn stylish.
Oh, so do you want to start off with the UI? Because that's like the least spoiler thing possible.
Yeah, let's talk UI first, and then go from there. 'Cause we had like, I know we made notes for once.
Yeah.
We'll talk UI first because it's like, it was when the first trailers dropped, the first gameplay trailers dropped all those years ago. The first thing everybody commented on was, what the fuck? Why is the UI so good?
Right? We saw those, like, it's like people mention, like, when your sizzle reel is menus.
You know you're a god. Thank you, Patrick Bolvin. Like, that is perfect. Like, that's literally all you need to say, is like, that's how you know you've ascended. And the menus are some of the coolest things in Persona 5, which is a weird thing to say.
So, and it's like, we mentioned this, you and I talked about this like a little while, like a week or so ago, and we were like, we had to fact check something in P4, and we just booted up a YouTube video, and P4 looks really good. The menu design in P4 is really good, but we're like, it looks so plain.
It looks so normal now. Like, it's just so...
Yeah.
Like, I love... And, okay, like, I don't want to already get into Nitpick Central already, but I do, like, I have one major issue, and I put it in the notes. You saw it, but I'm going to say it here.
Yeah.
I have a major issue. I think that the UI is great. I think the menus look awesome. Why the fuck does the day counter and, like, your objectives take up so much goddamn screen real estate?
There is a weird thing. I kind of wish you could, like, turn it off.
Yes!
I don't like that, and I don't like the cutscene borders.
I don't like the cutscene borders, but I can handle the cutscene borders. I think what I hate the most is I hate that I can't turn the objectives off in the top right of the corner. I can't stand having a game remind me of what to do constantly. It drives me crazy. Like, yeah, I know what's going on, game. Don't worry.
Like, I like the date counter where it's like X days until you fail the dungeon. I like that. I don't need the objective part.
Yeah, like, that's just extraneous information, and it clutters up part of the screen. And since there's a lot of other visual information in Persona 5, like, there's a ton of information just on your screen in Persona 5 at any given time. There's a lot to do in this game. There's mini games, there's fishing, there's 1,000 ways to raise your stats, there's all these people to talk to. I mean, there's a lot going on in P5, and a lot of that information is presented on your screen, and then you have more info in the form of the UI overlay, and just having your objectives in the top right corner is, like, so unnecessary, because it's not like it's telling you, like, a step-by-step thing. It's just saying, like, save Haru, like, something like that. You know? Like...
It's not like P5 is, like, a giant open-world game.
Yeah.
Where it's like... You know, it's not like we're playing Horizon or Legend of Zelda where it's like, wait, what was I doing?
Right, exactly. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, like, it's a much bigger map than P4's, but, like, it's not like it's complicated enough that you need to, like, determine, you know, you need to figure out where to go next. It's usually, like, talk to person.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that is my one nitpick. And honestly, I do wish the date that, like, the time that, you know, it tells you, like, it's 7/22, you know, the day of the month. I wish it was a little bit smaller, because I think it's a little too big. It's kind of intrusive because of it, but, like, other than that, that's fine. But,
But P4 had that too. P4 was a lot giant smaller. And yellow.
But it was still a lot smaller. You can, like, look at P4's, and it's more kind of tucked up into the corner. But I mean, you know, that's such a nitpick. Like, everything else about the menus and stuff is so fucking hot. Fuck.
Just when you first press triangle and you
God.
go to, like, your list of, like, options.
And it changes every time? Shut the fuck up.
You see the screen tone Akira just, like, fade into view.
Oh my God.
And then he changes poses every time.
Oh my God, it's so hot. So, like, because I'm on my, like, you know, doing my completionist shit in this second run, so, you know, finishing out, like, the requests for, like, the twins and that kind of thing. And so because of it, I'm doing a lot of save scumming to, like, make sure I get the right skill to load when I, like, strengthen a persona or whatever. And because of it, I've learned that the coolest transition in the menu is the load transition. Because if you've ever looked at it, and I know, like, you don't have a lot of opportunities to load in P5 from, like, inside the game. You usually just load your save from when you start. But it's the coolest transition because it's Akira jumping down and then, like, bolting across the screen, and it just looks so fucking hot.
That sounds awesome.
It's so fire. Oh my god.
No, my favorite, the best one I think is the Confidants list.
Yes.
Because they're him and whoever confidant, they're back to back.
It looks so cool. It is so cool to just. I feel like a lot of this podcast is because me and you going. Because it's so. Dope.
But like this is a game that just bleeds style. The aesthetic in this game is so fucking on point. The name of the art book is The Aesthetic.
Yes. Holy shit. And because it's totally like they realized, like when they made like what caught everybody's eye with P3, at least what caught my eye, and I think it's what caught a lot of people's attention, is that P3 had, like, when it first came out and I first saw the opening for P3 and it was so unique, like that's what drew me to Persona 3, and it's what sucked me into the franchise.
Yeah, there's nothing like P3's opening. Like, before that point, like, there was nothing like that, where it's just really weird and trippy and cool, and it looked like one of the best, like, anime openings you've ever seen, you know?
Yeah, and it was a cool, it was, the music was different, like, everything about it was just kind of different and unique. And so, like, you can tell with Persona, and then, like, they took it even further with Persona 4, because the menu in Persona 4, the Golden, is that really cool striped lines running down the screen, like, so, and you know, they still kind of kept twiddling with the aesthetic, so that, like, you know, when you're in combat, it looks like you're in a TV screen, and the menu you're selecting from twists like a dial. Stuff like that. Like, they were clearly, like, aware, but they're like, alright, so we have a new system to work with. Let's just push this aesthetic shit to its logical conclusion and make it the coolest goddamn thing you've ever seen in your entire life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's, like, I think I've said it before on record that, like, I really do dig, like, really busy and, like, active menus like that, where things are constantly shifting and, like, parts are turning and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, or, you know, even stuff like machinery that is, like, constantly in motion and things are constantly moving back and forth. I love that. And this game does it so well.
I know. So many, like, all the little detail-y bits of P5's UI are just, like...
Like, when you go to the clinic or the gun store, and the shopkeeper's, like, silhouette rotates and they strike a different pose.
When
like,
you select different parts of the menu. Yes!
Yeah. She puts her feet up on the desk and it's just like, it's so great.
Oh my god. It just looks, every time is just... And the fact that, like, when you're picking different party members' equipment in the weapon shop menu, it's on dog tags, and so when you shift to a different character, it makes a little, like, chain rattly noise.
Yes!
And it's such a good chain rattly noise.
even the menu, like, the sounds in the menu, the gunshot confirm sound.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Everything
so perfect.
Is so just, like, sleek, and they really push this whole idea of just, like, lots and lots of different, like the reaction cut-ins that all the characters have, and everybody has, like, 5, and like all of these little ways to kind of keep the game, like, looking more alive, even though they didn't change the formula of everybody kind of standing around and talking, like, during normal exposition cutscenes, but they still found a way to kind of mix it up and make it look a little bit more unique compared to, like, P3 and P4. For sure. And the addition of the new... Honestly, I like the cinematics in P5 so much that they could have done away with the anime cutscenes. Oh,
absolutely. Like, if they had just kept the CG, like, animation where they kind of do, like, the up-res models with, like, the higher quality animation. Yeah, I could have... because like the anime, like when you do anime cutscenes in a video game like this, you want them to stand out and be significant because it's a completely different art style.
Yeah.
But like the CG animated scenes in Persona 5 are so good that the anime ones look bland in comparison.
They totally do. I'm so glad you think so too. Anime cutscenes in P4 are in P4 they're really good. In P5, they're really bland because
they don't have any of the style that the rest of the game has.
Yeah, because they're just kind of like there as like the only ones that really stand out are like the two escape ones, like when you're escaping from Kamoshida's, and then the fourth dungeon, which we won't say.
Yeah.
But the two escape, actually the third escape one is kind of lame, because it's not nearly as exciting as the first two. Like the first two escape anime cutscenes are really fun because they're exciting. It's like people are running and there's moving parts and you get to see everybody's goofy facial expressions and all this good stuff. And like they're cute because of it. You get to kind of see everybody, like Akira has like significantly more personality than Minato or Soji ever had.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so you get to see that, but like all of the other ones are just kind of like boring. They're just there for fan service. They're not really cool looking, They aren't
nearly as cool as the rest of the game.
Yeah,
but,
I would have. Oh, go ahead.
And it's because it's all of this because they used the same art team they used for Persona 3 and 4, which were less stylized as P5. And so you would think for something like P4, you would get like Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, like they've been using. I guess it's like it's just their studio. But even then, like,
it's their in-house studio.
But even then, there's just something kind of off about the anime cutscenes in P4 or P5 that I can't place because the ones in.
You know what I think it is? I think I just realized it.
What is it?
The color palette.
Yeah, it's really bland.
Dimmer.
It's really flat.
It's not. Yeah, it's a little bit like more like pastel-y, but not in a good way. Just faded out a little bit.
Yeah, and it's weird because this is the same studio that did the new cutscenes for the Golden, and all of the Golden's new cutscenes are really, really good. Like, they're really, like, they have a really rich color palette, and their shading is very, like, defined. Like, you go watch the New Year's Eve cutscene from the Golden, and it's really good. Like, I went back and watched it a few days ago, and it just has a really good sense of style. And like you said, the colors aren't as washed out. And so it was just a really strange stylistic choice for Persona 5 to kind of have everything look so flat in comparison to the main game. And especially in comparison to the dope-ass awakening scenes.
Oh, God. And we'll get to those, like, because those are plot stuff. But holy fuck, they're cool.
But just just from an aesthetic standpoint, they are just significantly cooler looking. Just everybody's facial expressions feel more like everybody feels more animated and more like they have character compared to the anime cutscenes. It's just strange. Honestly, I would have traded all of the anime cutscenes in the game for more of those scenes.
Oh yeah, totally. And you would think like it would be less costly to do CG ones because you don't have to draw anything. The models are done.
Yeah, like I don't know.
So I don't know. I mean, it might be just like an artifact of it's a Persona game. We have to have anime cutscenes in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tales of Berseria, which also didn't really need its anime cutscenes because the models look so good. Like
exactly.
But it's a Tales game, so you gotta have anime cutscenes. I don't
know. Yep. So, the last thing I want to talk about for the UI, is fucking, oh my god, like, the battle menu.
Oh my god!
Not only does the radial thing, I mean, everyone has seen the radial thing.
Yeah,
like, if you go on Twitter or Reddit, you've seen it. But like, I don't know, I don't think I've ever seen a game that does its menu like that, where it just assigns a button to each prompt. Like, I mean, besides, like, an MMORPG, but, like, a standard JRPG?
Yeah.
Like, they don't really do that. And that was so cool and efficient.
It's so smart because, like, by their nature, turn-based JRPGs are a slower experience, but because of this weird system of, like, you've removed a step, which is really smart. You know, normally, like, the normal pattern of a turn-based JRPG is you get into combat, the battle loads, the menu loads up, your menu pops up, so you have to press on a button to select your, what you're gonna do. You select your action. If it's attack, you don't have to do anything, because it's usually the default option. But to select anything else, you have to press a button, and then press another button. So that's 2 steps, and it's weird to think that those 2 steps kind of slow the process down.
They do, but, like, in a way you don't notice until they're removed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And, like, it kind of takes a little bit of getting used to the fact that you're already selecting the enemy.
Yeah.
Because, like, normally you press attack and then you confirm which enemy you want to attack.
Right.
But in P5, the reticle's already on an enemy at all times, no matter what, unless you use an item or a healing spell.
Right.
Like, it's always there, so you just press attack and they do it. And you don't realize how much that speeds up the battle until you get used to it.
And the fact that everybody's attack animations are really fast, and just generally speaking, the flow of battle in P5 is really, really quick compared to, like, even P4 and P3 and other turn-based JRPGs. Fights just fly by, even with, like, all of these different, like, animations going on and all this stuff. They're over quickly, and they're flashy, and they just feel really satisfying. Yahtzee, this is a really bizarre thing, but Yahtzee at on 0 punctuation, Ben Crenshaw, I can't remember what his name is. This is so strange. He really liked Persona 5, and he hates JRPGs.
That's really weird from a guy like him, which
I know.
Persona's one of the most JRPGs to ever exist.
I know, but he liked Persona 5, and I put it in our notes, he described the battle system as kind of a weird rhythm game. And I totally feel that. Like, you're not matching the beat to anything, but because you're kind of constantly moving your fingers around the controller to select different attacks, to use your gun, to see who's going next, to swap characters in and out, to change party tactics, you know, all of these things, it kind of takes on the rhythm of like a music game, and it's really interesting. But it works so well.
And that's actually a really good transition to the next thing, which is fucking music in this game.
Oh my god, I know. Fuck.
The battle theme in this game, I could never get sick of it.
I have yet to get sick of Last Surprise.
Oh my god.
I know. It never gets old. I am not even close to tired of it yet. I could and have at work listen to it on loop like constantly lately.
The 4 songs in this game that have lyrics, the opening, the battle theme, the nighttime theme, and the final boss theme.
Whims of Fate also, that's the casino theme.
Oh yeah, they're holy fuck. Because usually, like, when you get, like, Japanese songs that are in English, like, they're kind of translated into just, like, kind of generic, like, there's not really a lot of depth to their lyrics when they're translated. They lose a ton of, like, you know...
what would
like,
normally be said in Japanese.
Yeah, or, like, even, like, when it's a song that's sung by sung in English by a Jap... like, it's defaults into English. Like, they're still, like... you know, they don't, like, they're not really that big a deal. Like, even Reach Out to the Truth, the battle theme from P4, it's like, their lyrics are just, like, pretty generic. They're just kind of...
it's just words to kind of go along with the music. Yeah.
But...
I know.
And then, like, because, like, you hear it for this game, and you're like, okay, well, yeah, they're just lyrics, whatever. And then you, like, read you pay attention, or you read the lyrics for, like, Last Surprise. And every lyric is, fuck you, I'm going to win.
Oh, like the opening theme is so... it's like the lines are like, raise your voice against liars, and you're like, what the fuck? That's so badass. I will, Persona 5. I will raise my voice against liars. I'm so motivated right now, you know? Like...
Right? Like...
And, like, life will change... Like, life will... Oh, fuck. Can we talk about how awesome life will change is?
How much your blood gets... Like, your blood gets pumping and how fired up you are when you hear it.
Even the instrumental version, the first time you do, like, a proper, like, run to the treasure kind of moment...
Mm-hmm.
And, like... You go, you know, you send the calling card and you're going to get Kamoshida's treasure and you get into the TV, or not TV world, Jesus, this is the same thing. Mementos. Yeah. You get into Mementos and Life Will Change is playing, like the instrumental version, and you're like, oh my god.
You're like, yeah, this is it. This is like a heist.
It's
this
like
is
a heist.
Fucking, yeah.
It just makes you feel like, even though, like, the run from the safe room to Kamoshida's treasure is, like, 30 steps, and there's nothing between you and it, there's no battles or anything, you still feel like the baddest badass in town, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Just because it's like, you just feel you're so unstoppable, just because the theme is that good. Fuck, Life Will Change is so goddamn good.
The... Rivers in the Desert should have been the final boss, like the true final boss theme.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they reused it, you know?
They should have, they wasted it on the final boss. They should have used it on the true final boss instead.
Well, I don't know, because, like, when you listen to the lyrics, again, like, the lyrics sound more like they fit the finger quotes final boss, the 7th dungeon final boss, that's what we'll call him. Even though it's not a spoiler at all, I mean, everybody, the minute you start the game, you know who the final boss is, because it's like,
yeah, but you don't know what he's gonna do.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you know, like, the final boss, finger quote, 7th dungeon one, like, the lyrics are more fitting for that, but, like, yeah, it should have either been for that fight, and then we should have gotten something even more badass for the final boss, like, the true final boss, or... 7th dungeon final boss should have gotten, I think it's called Blooming Villain is what the theme for, like, most of the boss fights are. I'm not gonna promise that one.
Mm-hmm.
Either, or he should have gotten his own theme as well. Something should have happened. And I mean, like, Life Will Change itself kind of sounds like a big finger to the 7th dungeon final boss. So maybe they should have just played Life Will Change. I don't know. But, either way, fuck, Rivers in the Desert is so good. It goes harder than some games' entire soundtracks.
God!
Oh my god.
Oh!
Oh my god.
You hear that opening, and you're just like, this is raw.
It just gives you, like, because it's such, like, a durr, and, like, you just feel it in your bones. You're like, oh my god. And then, like, the string instruments kick in, and just... it's so cool. We're saying that a lot in this podcast, and I'm sorry everybody who's listening, but it's so cool.
And Beneath the Mask is just like,
oh, I know,
dude,
every
that song
version
is so
of it
chill.
too. The Rain version of it is definitely my favorite because it's a little bit more chill than, like, the normal nighttime Beneath the Mask theme. Like, it's Beneath the Mask Nighttime Rain is slightly different than just normal Beneath the Mask Nighttime, and I really like it. Like, it's just very peaceful.
I always love when, like, a soundtrack, like, is known for being, like, because, like, Persona 5 soundtrack is, like, really heavy, like, it's heavy and it's intense and it's, you know, stuff like that. I love when they have one song that's really chill, but is not for, like, a tragic moment, you know?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a mellow out moment. Like, yeah.
Like Godot's theme in Trials and Tribulations.
Yeah,
you know?
Fragrance of Dark Coffee, for sure.
Yeah, or it's just this really chill, calm, put on rainy mood.
Yeah, totally. Everybody pairs it with rainy mood, of course. Like, I feel it too, because it's just very, like, it gives you that... Persona 5 does a really good job of selling you on this idea that you are living in Tokyo, when, like, obviously it's a kind of glamorized version of living in Tokyo, because you get to live by yourself and you're 17. 16, 17 years old, but you still get to live by yourself, like, okay. But it does do a good job of kind of making you feel like you're in the moment, and part of what that is the music does a good job of of putting you kind of in the right mindset of being like, it's nighttime in a big city, and you kind of just blend in, and like nobody really notices you because everybody, it's not Inaba where everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
You're just another face in the crowd. You're kind of, like the line is, I'm a shapeshifter at Poe's Masquerade, which is, by the way, a fascinating callback to an Edgar Allan Poe story that is about a rich man sealing himself and all of his friends in palaces to escape a plague.
Oh, that's so cool. I did not know that.
Yes, that's why the line is, I'm a shapeshifter at Poe's Masquerade, hiding both face and mind. So,
oh, that's so good.
I know. But the song does a good job of kind of helping you feel like you are just kind of another guy out and about in Tokyo.
Well, that's also one of the really cool things about the design for this game, is that, like, you just pass through people.
Yeah, exactly, because you just don't register to people that much.
Like, any other games where, like their NPCs are crowded, like, I mean, like, I've played a little bit of Yakuza 0, and it's also a really crowded area, and Kiryu will just push people out of the way.
Right,
or
yeah.
he'll or like in a Grand Theft Auto or something like that, or even like an LA Noire or whatever, a game with like a lot of crowds, your character will generally just like push people out of the way or shove them, or they'll jump out of your path if you're running or whatever. Like, I thought it was just so cool that Akira just phases through them.
Yeah, and
like they're not even there. There's no animation of him telling them to get out of the way or like anything like that. And like all the NPCs that you can't talk to are just faceless.
Yeah, they're even like lower poly, because the idea is that they just don't register on your radar that much, because like, again, it's a big city. You can't pay attention to everybody. So everybody around you kind of turns into like faceless masses, because like you could not possibly focus on every single person like you could in Inaba.
Yeah. And you know what I think is really, really cool about that though?
What?
There are still like several different NPC models.
Yeah.
And like some of them are wearing like the coughing masks. And so what I think that really does is that it also drives home the fact that like, yes, it is like a really crowded city and you're kind of like, you're just one person in that crowd. But because you can kind of still distinguish between some of them, like, you're not like truly isolated.
Yeah. And the fact is that you can still talk to, it helps that, one of my criticisms of P5, which I'll retract, is that, and I was wrong, was that it doesn't feel like there are as many, like, small NPC stories that there are in P4. And they are definitely in P5. You just, because the game is so huge, it's harder to track all of them down.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems, where it's like, sometimes the game will be like, hey, go talk to a student in the student council room. And I'm like, what?
Where is that?
What?
What?
Why isn't anything labeled?
Yeah, everything.
P4's map is so small that it's really easy to find anything in the school.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, you're in a city school now. No, you gotta track it down.
You gotta really find... I mean, like, yeah, it's really interesting that they because of that. But there are still, like, running stories. There's the weirdo street singer. There's the sun god in Shibuya. There's the offensive gay stereotypes in Shinjuku. Atlas Y. Why? Oh my god. There's the weird mascot thing in Shinjuku that is terrifying. Oh my god. And all sorts of little stories like that are all over the city, and because of that, it kind of does make you feel like slightly less isolated, because you can kind of figure out what each of these people are up to as the year progresses. And I love it.
And you know what else really, really helps with that is that your main, like, the place you live, your apartment, like, your room, is set in a little alleyway street.
Yes. Oh, man.
And, like, so even though you get, like, the big city where you're kind of isolated in this huge city, you're not in an apartment, like, up high.
Yeah.
You have to go to a little local, kind of cramped little district where you don't even have a washing machine. You have to use the public washing machines in the alleyway next to the bathhouse.
Yeah. and it's so, like, those little things, you know, the quaintness. I think they captured the kind of, like, quiet charm of and, like, alley, and those little alleys with restaurants and stuff in them are, like, a big thing in Tokyo, too. Like, you can Google, like, Tokyo alleyway bars, and they're, like, a major thing. It's just, like, these little alleys that are lined with teeny tiny bars and stores and stuff. They're a major thing in Tokyo, and they're all very quaint, and they're all very kind of unique to Tokyo, because it's so cramped. And they really capture, just with that one little thing of the 3 stores, one right after the other, next to LeBlanc, they really kind of capture that little sense of quaintness, and just kind of, like, quiet hominess. I love when you can walk outside sometimes, and, like, the light is just right outside of LeBlanc, and there's, like, leaves drifting down the street, you know? And it's such a nice little moment. You're just like, oh, this is, like, it feels like home, even if you are kind of stuck in this giant city. It just feels like home, and it's so nice, you know?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's Persona 5 is beautiful. Like,
this game's, yeah.
It is gorgeous. And I mean that for, like, aesthetically, and I just think that they have such a good sense of the color palette and the lighting. I love seeing Shibuya at night, and you can see the big signs all lit up in Station Square. I just think all of that is so good. They have done such a good job of making it feel like you really are in this place, because all of these people are here, and not all of them pay attention to you, and you're just kind of going about your day. And that helps in the late game, when, for reasons that will be unsaid, you need to be unnoticed, eyebrow waggle.
Yeah.
Like, it makes total sense that even though you are kind of a person of interest at that point, the city's just too big for anybody to ever really pay attention to you, so you can still go about your day. I mean, that's so smart. Oh my god, they sold it so well.
I'm really, really glad they did wait until P5 to do a big city thing like this, because P3 was set on an island, and, like, it's kind of more of a metropolitan area, but, like, you know, like, the city itself wasn't the attraction of that game.
Right.
And, like, P4 was set in a really small town, so you had no buildings or anything like that, or any lights at all. So, to do it in P5, and to, like, really up the quality of their, you know, resolution and their graphics and their visuals, was a perfect time to do a big city like that.
Yeah, you couldn't have done this on a PS2. At least it wouldn't have looked as good, you know?
No, it would have looked so much more bland, and, like, it would not have captured the feeling of being in that city as well.
Yeah. So it was definitely a smart choice to wait this long. And I mean, they just hit it out of the park. Oh my god. I could just talk about it all day. Just the fact that the whole city is just covered, and my English speaking ass is always so confused by all of Tokyo in that game. Every single part of that fucking city is covered in signs that my ass can't read a word of, you know? And so it's cluttered, and it's bright, and it feels so, like, real. And there are comparison pictures of, there's an actual underground mall in Shibuya, you know? And the comparison pictures are so spot on that it just feels like, man, you really are just kind of getting to see what a little slice of Tokyo looks like. It's so...
Yeah, like, I always feel like, you know, they do, when it comes to stuff like that, like, they do a really good job of representing real-world cities in games like that. And I really appreciate it more when it's a stylized game, like an anime game like that. Yeah. Because that means I think it's just a little bit extra than just making, here's a photorealistic version of, like, New York or something, you know?
Right,
or, like, Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, adding that anime aesthetic to it a little bit just adds that little bit of character to it that makes it stand out even more.
Yeah, and okay. I can't.
Talk about.
I could talk about it all day, but I won't. Next,
we got to talk about the gameplay, though.
Yeah. Holy shit! How about those upgrades?
This game is there's 3 words: quality of life.
Quality of life improvements, 100,000%.
And it's like. The cool thing about that is that, like, everything that P5 does doesn't negate P4.
Right.
Like, P4, we said it before, P4 is just a straight fix on a lot of the things wrong with P3. Like, there's just a lot in that game that is much better in P4 that makes it difficult to go back to P3.
Yeah.
Like, everything that's been improved for P5 is an issue that only P5 would have had without it.
Right,
like,
yeah.
One of the best things ever, the best, is that you can just track flat out who is available and where they are on any day.
And if they're going to rank up.
Yeah.
Which is great. And like you said, it's only a problem Persona 5 would have. Like, yeah. Because Persona 5...
Because it's so big.
It's so spread out. Yeah, all of these confidants are in every single part of the city, you know?
And some of them are in parts of the city that you have to pay money to go to.
Yes.
And so if it's your first run and you because you can get broke in that game pretty easily.
Pretty fast, yeah, pretty fast.
Yeah. So if it's on your first run and you're trying to conserve your money, it would suck if you had to actually physically go there to see if someone's available.
Right.
And so it's so helpful.
Yeah, all of the little improvements, another thing that it's a problem only Persona 5 would have because it is so large, is the fact that somebody will text you and you can immediately go to them. You don't even have to and the other thing I really like is that you can immediately go to them, but it won't automatically start their social link. All it does is put you in front of them, and then to initiate the social link, you have to talk to them. So if it's you want to talk to
if you get to them and you're if you get to them and you're like, oh wait, shit, I don't have the persona, I need to speed it up.
Right.
And I already accepted it, you can warp back to the Velvet Room and get the persona and then go and do it.
Right, yeah. Those little things like that are so smart, and they're just the littlest of improvements that really make the game shine and make it. And the cool thing is, because of that, you can play the whole game without ever really touching your controller. You have to steer him around the city sometimes and little things like that. But after a certain point in the game, you can play the whole game just by fast traveling everywhere.
Yeah, when you're not in dungeons, but when you're outside, you're doing your regular work, you can just
But the thing is, that makes you miss all those little side stories from the NPCs and stuff. So those side stories are there to kind of incentivize you to, and in this playthrough, I've been doing it a lot more lately. I try to walk more places. I try to actually walk from school to the front gate to Shibuya, and then go find Yusuke or An or whoever, and talk to them physically instead of teleporting myself there, just so I can kind of see what's up with everybody, all the, talk to the newspaper girl and creepy stalker girl and the sun god and the music guy in Shibuya and all these different people, it's cool to just have, it feels like you're really kind of pushing yourself into a routine that way, and I think that's another way to make you feel, and I said this again in P4, Atlus does a good job of forcing a routine on you so that everything feels very familiar.
Yeah.
So that, again, kind of like in P4, when Nanako and Dojima are in the hospital, Redacted happens after November, and suddenly you can't partake in your usual routine.
Yeah, and it feels really disruptive.
Yeah, it kind of throws you off your game. You're just like, wait, what's going on? So smart! That is such smart game making! Ah! Yeah. It's just good. Repetition breeds familiarity, and Atlus knows this better than anybody. And so yeah, and those other, all the other little quality of life improvements are just insane.
We talked about the menu already, that's a major quality improvement, but everything they've done for giving you more options for fusion, either just sacrificing a persona to give you an item or to boost another one without having to fuse them is great, and it's a feature that I thought about they should have included in P4. I kind of idly thought it'd be cool if I could just give a persona levels.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of having to grind up the levels to fuse the fucking thing to make Margaret happy. Oh my god. In this, it's I need Samurai Karm, but I can't get it. But I know that this piece of a fusion learns Samurai Karm the next level, so I'll just get something out of my compendium that's the same Arcana and boost it, and bam, just like that, you get you have enough XP, just like that. It's easy.
Exactly, and the biggest step that this game did is we are free from randomly generated dungeons.
Oh my god!
Except for the one. But,
yeah,
like, the one is really cool.
It's a good one, and it's still, it's not, like, completely unforgiving. It's not Tartarus. Like, I think it almost could have been a little bit more Tartarus-y, because sometimes I think it's a little too easy. But you know me, I just like video games to beat me up. Sometimes I think Mementos is a little too easy. But in general, I think it's perfect. There's save rooms, and by the way, hey, there's a quality of life improvement that, oh my god, was so necessary. Safe rooms.
Oh yes, those are so much better than like having to go back to the entrance to save.
Mm-hmm. And having to you know yap all yo yens from the fox instead. It's just kind of like fucking deal with it, homie. Yep. Learn to conserve that SP, bitch. And I hope you brought a lot of coffee. And a lot of curry. But, like, all these little... it's so good, dude. What else like, is there? Auto heal.
Yes, auto heal's really nice.
Auto heal is so nice.
Because, again, it saves you having to navigate the menu. Mm-hmm. You can just press a button and you can just heal up for a little bit of SP.
It's so good. And because it splits the SP cost fairly across all of your
evenly.
healers. Yeah. So it's actually...
So you're not draining Yukiko
right
to heal yourself up when you need it.
Yeah. And, and being able to swap your party members in and out in the middle of a dungeon. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that's really helpful.
It's so good. That's so much better. Because, like, it never made sense in P4 why you couldn't do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody is running into that boss room at the same time at the end of a dungeon, so that clearly means they're all running around together. So why can't I just swap everybody out?
And also they did the really nice thing where they justified why you have 4 in a group.
Yeah, they did.
Which it's not necessary, but I always appreciate when they do it.
I like when they hand wave a reason, you know? Like, they did it in Tales of the Abyss. Anytime they kind of hand wave a reason why there's, like, where you could only have 4 people in a group at a time. And even then, if you get Hifumi's fucking awesome baller social link abilities, you can just swap people in and out in combat like Personas. That's so broken. Yeah. Oh my god.
Which is also I think the best upgrade that P5 does over P4, which is now every social link gives you dungeon abilities.
Yes, which is something we've said before that Persona 4 should have had. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just so nice because one of the quote unquote problems with P4 or P3 is that, like, you would want to prioritize the party members because they give you stuff. Bonuses. Like, they make the dungeons easier. Mm-hmm. But now they've spread it out to, like, you still kind of do want to prioritize your party members because, like, they will give you the most direct significant boost. Mm-hmm. But, like, you still really want to do other ones for reasons beyond they're a cool character and you want to get to know them better.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, Mishima's gives you more fucking XP.
Yeah.
Like, Mishima's gives you more XP, Hifumi's lets you swap people in and out. I mean, all of these little, these ways to make dungeon crawling more manageable. Sojiro's lets you make coffee and curry that restores your SP, which is probably the most important social link in the game because of it. Because otherwise, the fake out final boss is almost impossible without without restoratives. Oh my god!
Oh yeah,
just because he's just so sturdy. Holy shit! Like all of these little things that are so smart, and some are more broken than others. See Oya, who is completely useless.
Yeah, Oya's is probably the worst because, like, if you're good at stealth, which you don't have to be that good at stealth, because stealth is pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of pointless.
Like, yeah, as long as you're good at it, you won't ever run into the problem that Oya's fixes.
Yeah, like, if you're just, like, tearing ass through dungeons without trying to hide at all, why would you?
Yeah.
Because it just makes your battles harder. But...
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't get it. But, you know... otherwise, Oyas is totally useless. And, like, the next most useless is definitely Iwais, the gunshot guy. But he's a cool character, so he can get away with it. Oyas has got a boring social link and has a bad,
Yeah, exactly.
like, I'm sorry, Oya. You know, you look and sound kind of like Yukiko, but you just ended up not being nearly as great as Yukiko.
Yeah, she's not nearly as interesting.
Yeah, sorry, Oya.
So, speaking of characters,
wait.
I think we're done with spoiler-free territory now.
Wait, I'm looking at the thing. Yeah, that's kind of all I can think of. I did want to say, like, for sure, I think the dungeons themselves are really great. Like, I did kind of want to, like, bring that, and it's kind of it's a little spoilery, and, like, it's a gameplay spoilery, but seriously, those are some of the, like, I just love the design of so many of the dungeons in this game. Like, I love fake out final bosses. I won't even say, because that reveal is too good.
That's the hard thing, is that, like, trying to talk around, like, what they are is really hard, because they're really, really cool, and, like, a lot of them do catch you by surprise, and you want to see, like, holy crap, we're going where?
Yeah. The only one that kind of doesn't make any sense is Haru's dad's, which we can say, because whatever, it sucks. But honestly, for all of them, my favorite one, for a while I thought it was the casino, but then I've been replaying it. Honest to God, this isn't a spoiler because it's like the second one. Madarame's is amazing in retrospect.
Dude, I don't want to spoil it, like, too much, because it's a really cool reveal, but the part where you go to the trippy part,
yes, the Escher room, Madarame, basically.
Yeah, like the room that is all that one color.
Yes. Oh,
and,
man.
Like, you're like, oh, that's when you're like, this is something special. And
even to let you know that you're in, like, a weird kind of liminal space in Madarame's mind, the music changes.
Yes.
To, like, that kind of ghostly theme of the art room, like the art museum theme. It kind of shifts to be kind of more like spooky sounding. Oh, man.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
So solid. Holy shit.
Fucking design in this game is just astronomical.
Probably the best moment, like one of the best dungeon moments, just a small thing, but I always like try to redo it as much as possible, is the bit in Madarame's dungeon where all of those screen doors slide open, like, one after another really fast.
Yes!
Holy shit. How cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is so beautiful to watch, and because it is just like these, because the blues are like really rich, bright blues, and there's golds, and they slide open so smoothly and perfectly. Okay, Atlus knew they did such a good job that they had the characters comment in game about how it looked. Atlus knew when they made it.
Yeah,
they were like, shit, we did something good here. We should point that out. And then they did, because when they make it work, Ryuji goes, whoa, and you're like, yeah. Same for sure. Just the design of the dungeons is so fun and flashy. And I can't wait to keep playing it. Like, once we get off this call, I'm going to play
exactly.
Okay, so I really wanted to get that off my chest, because I love the dungeon design in this game.
Long story short, everyone go fucking play Persona 5, because it is a phenomenal game.
If you haven't played it yet, what the fuck? It's sold like gangbusters, by the way. Yeah. It's already surpassed P4 sales.
Like, without a doubt, go pick it up, because it is a fantastic JRPG experience, and you will absolutely love it. It is just so much fun.
Cool.
Oh.
So now we're going into Spoiler Central. Not too spoilery, because we're not going to talk about characters in depth today.
Yeah, we're not going to do that'll be next week's.
Probably.
Because hopefully we'll get Saturn on it as well.
Yeah.
But we'll just kind of do, like, a primer on the plot stuff.
Right,
because
general overview.
There's a lot... Yeah, there's a lot I want to vocalize, because there's a lot of shit that happens, and, like, I can't hold it in anymore.
Alright, hit me.
I don't know if I want to start with it, but fuck it, I will. All according to Keikaku!
Everything according to Keikaku. Translator note,
Keikaku means plan.
It's
like,
so true.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that Photoshop fucking everywhere.
I know how we
because
need
it
to
seemed
make
like
that.
the most obvious thing to make.
That should be the title card.
No, because that'd be such a huge spoiler.
I know.
Oh my god, but like,
I know.
no, I already decided the title card is going to be from Lupin the Third.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect. That works.
But like, because like one of the things I knew, because like I was like dreading it because, and I'll tell you why, is that like the one thing I didn't. But we are in super spoiler territories now.
Oh my god! Please turn back.
Yeah, if you have not beaten it yet, stop it right now because we're going to ruin the game for you at this point.
All right, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a minute. We're gonna count down. 5, 4. I swear to God, turn it off. 3, 2, 1. Do it.
Okay, so what I was afraid of more than anything is that I knew Akechi was the traitor. Like it was the most obvious goddamn thing in the world. Like for minute one, you're like, oh, it's him.
Of course,
it's him.
He joins late. He's like the goody two shoes character. He's talking all about his shitty justice and bloody 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 blah. And you're like, okay, whoa! I almost pushed my couch over. What the fuck? Anyways, I was like trying to adjust myself and I almost fell off my couch. Anyways, yeah, no, it's so fucking obvious. Come on, he's even got like a radically different costume design than the rest of the cast. You know,
and like. Even beyond that, like, even without, like, diving into spoilers too much, like, already you could see the rumblings in the fandom of whether or not Akechi is a good person or justified or whatever, blah,
right,
blah, 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 blah,
blah. Oh god, the discourse. Please save me from Persona discourse. And I'm like, it's always the worst.
When I see that, I'm like, and I was, like, near that point in the game when it was going to happen, that I'm like, I swear to God, if this is just another Adachi...
Oh, I know.
I'm going to turn the game off and I'm not going to play it anymore. Because if they... Because, like, everything I'd seen is leading up to, like, him just being another Adachi.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Like, he's evil because he's petty and, like... cynical and it's all a lie and blah 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 and I hate the world and everything like that, and the party member's going to go, oh no, how could our trusted friend turn out this way? I can't believe he sold us out,
right.
Blah blah blah. And I'm like, if I have to go through that, I'm going to be livid. And
right
then you get the bit, and like, and I was like, I was on board because when Akechi comes in with the gun, I'm like, wait, this is really, really cool.
Did I do something wrong? Like,
I need to see where this goes.
Right.
And then I'll decide, like, whether or not I keep playing.
Yeah.
And then things play out, and the cutscene plays, like the anime cutscene, where it shows everyone reacting to the leader of the Phantom Thieves being, like, committing suicide. And then it gets to Ryuji. Yeah! And he just goes... We got him. And I'm like, what? And then you get the whole reveal that Morgana and Akira have planned everything.
From the start, they fucking knew.
Yeah, from the moment Akechi's like, let's work together. We'll be best chums. And then they leave, and Morgana and Akira just go, yeah, no, he's up to some shit. I was just like, because the other thing is, I caught that myself.
Yes, you did, and I am so shocked because you are my dearest and most beloved friend, Benjamin, but you have a shit memory.
Oh, I do, and like, because I was playing P5 while also talking to you, like, at the same time, like, over Discord, I would miss things.
Yes!
And I'm like, but that scene in particular, I'm like, wait a minute. Morgana's the only one who mentioned pancakes.
To be undone by pancakes, of all things.
and just, like, And not only that, but the fact that Morgana and Akira have been holding on to that information the whole time.
Oh, I know!
Like, because when they leave and Morgana and Akira are talking, he's like, yeah, we can't trust him. He lied to us. Because I was the only one to mention pancakes way back in-game, like 6 months ago.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I briefly at one point mentioned pancakes, and Akechi noticed that.
And there's no way, if he had never been into the TV, God, whatever.
Mementos.
The metaverse, if he had never been into the metaverse at that point, and he claims, when he's telling you his, like, bullshit story, that he was pulled into the metaverse, with Haru's dad's dungeon, then the timelines don't sync up. Then, like, there's no way. It's like a Phoenix Wright moment where you're like, objection! Yeah. You know? and then the music stops and you know you did it right.
And then the best part, the best part is that they're not like, let's plan something to get the two of us together, we'll plan something. It's, hey, let's let the team know right now.
Yes.
And we'll do something right. We'll work this all out.
It forgives... Like, the fact that Persona 5 has, like, the most egregious idiot ball moment in the franchise so far, which we won't talk about
without
too much.
Like, I think Morgana's idiot ball, and this is also part of Morgana Social Link, so we won't dive too deep into it, but the Morgana and Ryuji thing is, I think it's worse than Dojima.
For sure. At least Dojima's had some kind of, like, the difference between, like, Dojima and Soji's idiot ball moment in Persona 4 is that, like, it was still kind of a dramatic thing, and it was still really tense. During Ryuji and Morgana's little lovers quarrel fucking thing, I just spent the whole time cringing. I nearly turned the game off a few points.
Well, for one thing, Dojima's moment is a very quick moment that lasts within, like, an hour or so in-game. And it is a point where he is very clearly not thinking. Right. And he is acting on gut reaction because he's scared and he's angry.
Right.
The Morgana Ryuji thing was something that had been building up and lasted for days.
And was stupid for every single one of those days. At no point. Like, okay, when Ryuji does his little Morgana knows Ryuji well enough at this point, and it's just obvious that Morgana just wants to be angry to be angry. Like, at that point, and we're getting into this, but whatever, at that point in the story, like, Morgana should have known that was the best kind of, like, apology you're gonna get out of Ryuji, and it was, you know, and, like, but then Morgana's like, all of you guys think that about me. No, idiot, just Ryuji thinks that. You're not supposed to be the dumb mascot character. We already got that with Teddy.
And, like, it's really, really clear, and, like, this is the last I'll talk about it, because we need to move on to something cooler. The thing is, like, that it's really clear that when Ryuji said that, like, he doesn't care that, like, Morgana is useless. What he meant is that he doesn't like Morgana because Morgana has a purpose on the team. He likes Morgana because of Morgana.
Yeah, because Morgana is his friend. Like, that's it. Yeah. Anyways.
Like, it was... But that's it.
That's
like,
it.
The game more than redeems itself with the Akechi situation, because
oh my god. Fuck. Oh my god, it's so dope. Listen to me, we've broken this down between you and I several times, but I gotta play this out for anybody listening. Do you understand the balls of the situation where basically it breaks down to you have to allow yourself be arrested, risk the fact that the police are gonna beat the shit out of you, and I'm sure there was probably a fear of that happening because, like, the police obviously don't like the Phantom Thieves. So, like, you've got to risk having the shit kicked out of you by the cops. Then you've got to hope Sae can get in there to question you, because the cops could have just told her to pound sand, and then you'd be fucking dead. And then, once Sae is in there, you've only got maybe 2 to 3 hours to convince her of the existence of an entire metaphysical universe where you and your friends go in, change into dope costumes, go into weird fucking dungeons, and steal the representation of another person's fucked up desires. You have 3 hours to convince a grown-ass woman of all of this, and if you don't, you die.
Yeah. Like, this is a play that was so badass because it was so fragile.
And the thing is, everybody went along with it because they knew, like, the most badass part is everybody went along with it because they knew Akira could do it.
Yes, exactly.
That's what makes it cool. Like, that's what elevates it from being, like, a really crazy plan that's kind of dumb. Like, if you, like, you know, if it's like, well, if there had been any hesitation at all, then it's kind of like, this might be a little ridiculous. But because, like, they all had total confidence in Akira to be himself and win somebody over as well as he does, like, there was no fear. It was just, we got him. Fuck you. You know?
Oh, it was, and I'm like, it was the best way you could have done that thing. And it's just, like, it's the moment I'm most excited to get back to when I replay, because like I want to relive that moment where Ryuji is just, we got him.
Oh, it's so, because at first you think like Morgana. Okay, you obviously know the protagonist isn't dead, but you just think that it was a thing that maybe like he came up with on his own, or he just improvised, or something like that, and everybody else is just like, oh my god, they're so bummed because like they think their friend is dead, and he's gonna have his moment, and it's gonna be like, hey, you're not dead. But it's so much better because like what you realize is everybody is acting like that because they're trying to keep a straight face.
Yes, exactly.
That is so good.
Oh, it's so good. Oh my god, what an awesome fucking moment.
It is the perfect way, because I told this to you when we were when I was approaching the convergence point, when the timelines finally lined up. I told you I really wanted it to be kind of like a scene that all heist movies have, where it's like, well, how did you steal the diamonds? And then it shows a bunch of flashbacks showing how everybody, like, they set up this impossible heist. You know, Ocean's 11 does it. And
exactly.
Every good heist movie has it. And I was like, I really wanted that moment, but it would be like the Phantom Thief saving him. What we got was even cooler, but it was the same idea of, well, how did you do this thing where you made Akechi think you were dead and convinced Akechi that he had shot you, and you got the cool flashback sequences, you got the here's how we set it up, you know, you had this whole moment that established all of it, and it was the perfect way to put like a Persona twist on the heist theme of like, this is how we did the trick, you know?
Oh, it's so cool. And like I just love that everyone got to be involved in it, and that everyone pulled it off. Because like it's already been established that like An and Ryuji, like An is bad at improvising.
She can't
like,
act
if she has to act as someone, like she's terrible at improvising. So like the fact that she and like Ryuji and Morgana were able to keep it together and not blow it at all, like no one saw it coming.
It's
like
so...
there was never
You'll
even
never
the
see
little
it coming. Okay.
There was never even the bit where like someone says something weird and Akechi kind of like what?
Reacts?
Yeah. Like, well, there was one brief moment, and it is when Futaba steals his phone.
Right.
But they did a really good job of playing that off as the scene where Akechi kind of is part of the group now, because the shut-in Futaba is not afraid to mess with him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, because it's Futaba, who we've already established is kind of like a weird little goblin child, like, it's not so weird that she would steal somebody's phone to fawn over it, you know? But then it turns out that, like, oh no, she was just, you know, she was doing her part. Kill me, how cool.
It's so fucking... And the only thing I wish...
Yeah?
The only thing I wish is that I wish Akechi had more of a reaction when they're revealed to be... when he's revealed to be alive.
Yeah, I do wish we had gotten more of and from him and from, like Shido. It's kind of... I really wanted, like, Shido to have a meltdown about them not being dead. And... because I fucking hate Shido.
Well, we did get his fucking reaction to the calling card they set up, which is also a really fucking cool moment.
Oh my god. Okay. This is such a petty thing, though. The only thing I don't like about that cutscene, this is so petty, but just stay with me, dude. All of the calling cards in the game have a very specific, like, way of being read. Like, they all use a similar dialogue in every calling
like the
card.
so-and-so, the blank of deadly
Blank.
sin.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And then they also use the line in almost every calling card is, so we have decided to steal your distorted desires and make you confess your sins with your own mouth. Which is one of the most badass lines in the game. Like, without a doubt, the line, we have decided to make you confess your sins with your own mouth, is like one of the coolest things anybody says ever. Because it's just so, like, it is such a fuck you to whoever they're up against, you know? It's you can't stop us, and we are going to win so hard you will confess everything without us having to make you do it in the real world. Like, it's such a fuck you. And it's not in that cutscene, and I hate it. The only part I hate is that I just really wanted to, like, have that, because that line is so good. And it would have just been, like, a good consistency to have, like, a spoken calling card be read the same way as, like, a written calling card. But other than that, that whole scene is so fucking cool, it's fine, you know?
And here's something else you'll have to remember, which is really cool about it. Cameras don't work in the metaverse, right?
Yeah, how did they do that?
They would have had to have made their own outfits.
Yes! Oh god, I hope that's true.
They would have had to.
I guess.
There's no other way, because cameras don't work in the metaverse. They couldn't have filmed that in the metaverse, and Morgana's not there.
Oh yeah! So they really did make their own costumes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So cool. So I just want to believe they all just sat down in the attic one day and just powered out some baller fucking versions of their costumes.
Oh yeah, they would have had to, like, that's so fucking cool.
Oh, that's
my god.
Cool. That's actually the coolest thing ever. Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of cool, I think we can just cover these just based on their aesthetics, because they are really fucking cool. All, like you said earlier, all of the summonings, the awakenings are just like, because I love every one of them, because, like, the ones in Persona 4 are, like, kind of more dramatic and a little more, like, chill, I guess. Like, because it's part of their theme, where it's like, you're accepting who you are on the inside.
Right.
And, like, that's the overall theme. The overall theme of P5 is fuck you.
Yeah, the overall theme of P5 is I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
And, like, all these kids have had it so rough their whole lives.
Right.
And so all of their personas are, hey, now is your time to kick everyone who hates you in the dick.
It's like your chance to, like, take revenge against the world and just, like, really show them how pissed off you really are. And all of the awakening scenes are the coolest goddamn thing in the world, but extra bonus points to Makoto and Yusuke for having the coolest of the cool ones. Oh my God. Because Makoto's just... Fuck.
Makoto's is... I love that Makoto's is so cool that, like, everyone around her has to comment on how cool her persona is.
No, because it's a motorcycle!
It's a fucking motorcycle!
Fuck off, Makoto! You can't be best girl! But you are!
I really, really, really wish that, like, when Makoto was in your party, like in Mementos, she was just riding alongside you.
I know, but I also like that she drives the Morgana bus sometimes, like in the scene when they're escaping from Futaba's dungeon, because she's just like the most hardcore mom ever in that scene, you know? Like, she's just so badass.
And like for one thing, Makoto's initial outburst, because like that's when like the switch flips in her brain. And it's like, she's not the law-abiding, wet blanket, like...
student council president.
Yeah, she is a motherfucker.
She's a motherfucker, and she's pissed off, and she's mad about the injustice in the world. Like, that's all it is she's so pissed off at her own, like, weakness in the face of, like, injustice. Like, she's still the most... like, her persona is a pope, okay?
I know.
A legend, an apocryphal female pope, Johanna. You know, like, even then, so, like, everybody else's personas are, like, thieves and rogues and shit like that. So Makoto is still technically lawful good, but she's just going about it in the most badass way possible.
Oh my god, she's so fucking cool.
Just so cool. Just so badass.
And then Yusuke's, I think I like Yusuke's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because he has that line with Madarame, which is like, you've given me... or it's, like, where he says something like, I have no reason to forgive you now.
Yes.
Like, he's like, thank you, Madarame. You've sacrificed every reason I would have to forgive you.
Right, yeah.
And then he does the thing where he drags his hands across the tile and his fingers bleed.
Ah!
And then he smears it on the mask as he's tearing it off.
Yes! Ah!
And without a fucking doubt, Yusuke has the coolest cut-in portrait.
Oh, 100%!
Oh my...
Because...
What the fuck, his eyes?
What the fuck? This noodle is so bad. This weird art noodle is so strong. Why is this art noodle so strong? That's the question that I have to ask right now. Why is Yusuke's strength so high? He has no muscles whatsoever. But... it's so... And he has the best, like, crazy eyes. He's, like, straight up, like, crazy eyes in his cut-in. And it's amazing.
Just berserk.
And, please help me. I love all of them so much. Like, I mean, everybody's has a moment in their thing, their awakening that is really amazing. Like, all of, like, what makes Yusuke's, not that one, Ryuji. What makes Ryuji so great is just that Max Middleman is a great goddamn voice actor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he pulled off that scream so well.
And when he's doing the Captain Kidd voice, he just sounds so well. For one, he's doing his Shigure voice from Berseria.
Yeah.
Because he's Shigure in Berseria. He's doing the Shigure voice, so he just sounds like really lackadaisically bad. He's just kind of like really chill about being a total badass, you know? So, like, the Captain Kidd, it's perfect for, like, a Captain Kidd voice, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, he just sells it so perfectly. And Haru has the fucking gun skirt.
Yeah! Oh my god! Gun skirt! It's so cool! I love that the personas talk to them like that.
Oh my god, no. Wait,
because we never
remember...
really got, like...
What?
We never really got, like, an indication, like, in either game, whether or not the personas were, like, sentient in any way. You know? Like, we never got an idea. It was, like, it was kind of ambiguous as to whether or not, like, they could talk or what.
Right.
Like, are they stands or are they, like, servants? You know?
Right, yeah. Are they they're obviously... They are obvious, because the line is, I am thou, thou art I. So clearly they are a part of, like, the investigation team. You know, they're part of them. But, like, how much of them are they a part of them? You know, like, how much is it? And Persona 5 answers that question by having all of the personas be voiced by the same voice actor.
Yeah.
Which is just tremendous. And
which is so cool.
It's so great. And because there are no lip flaps to match, it means everybody can just kind of go hog wild and talk however they want, and they make it all sound really great because of it. All of those line readings are excellent.
And the speeches are just so badass.
I know. So many, like, really great lines. Like, when Johanna is like, I see you finally found your own justice. And it's just
yes!
like, ah! And Goemon has the world is filled with beauty and vice. It is time to teach people which is which.
Oh my god. I wish, like, just based on how cool they are, I kind of wish you could, like, as a New Game Plus bonus or, like, a DLC bonus, you could swap back to their original personas.
Yeah.
Because the trickster gods and goddesses are all really, really, really cool.
Right.
But, like, I fucking love that the base forms are just, like... thieves and rogues and cool dudes, you know?
Right, just, like, cool people who kind of, like, push back against society. Like, yeah, trickster gods and goddesses are cool, for sure, but the idea of having personas be fictional thieves and rogues and otherwise people living on the fringes of society is, one, very applicable to the actual characters, and two, makes those personas seem more, like, down-to-earth.
Yeah.
Because they're just based off of people, they're not gods, the way that, like, all of the well, not all of the investigation team, but a large portion of the investigation team's personas are Japanese folk gods and goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of it, you know, like, they are definitely larger than life, but the designs for the original, like, the Phantom Thieves' original persona designs are so strong.
And like, I absolutely love hearing Ryuji yell Captain Kid more than Seitan Tensei.
For sure. For sure. Because Captain Kid is awesome, and so is Carmen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how maybe it's just me. I don't know if that's how you pronounce Hecate. Is it Hecate or Hecate? I don't know. But
it's Hecate because it's Greek, right?
Oh, I guess. I don't know.
Because Greek, they don't... Whatever language it is, English is the only one that does the weird silent E thing.
Right.
So, like, yeah, it would be Hecate.
But still,
or
the
Hecate,
point is,
maybe.
The point is, as cool as Hecate is, Carmen's design is way better.
Oh my god. It's so good.
Amazing, because she's stepping on a dude.
And she has another dude, like,
on a leash.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
she hits
so
things. And I just remember when we were first playing, like, when we first were, like, playing P5 and you finally got back from the beach and actually got to play it. And you got to, like, the first, like, when Ryuji got his persona, I still remember the text you sent me, which was, everyone gets an I am thou, thou art I scene? Fuck you, Persona 5, you can't already be the best game. I got that text and I was like, oh boy, he has no idea.
Right? And then it's like, oh,
better.
can't I?
Also, I appreciate that Akira's persona is a bridge dubbed Alucard. I mean, it's not actually, but it just sounds just
I know,
like
but
him.
like it sounds like it.
It just sounds
You know
like
what?
him.
You know what I do wish though? Like, it doesn't, and I'm like, out of all the games, like, with this fucking hype-ass bullshit happening all the time forever, Akira doesn't go per... So,
He doesn't!
Nah.
He doesn't! But I kind of dig it that he doesn't, because he's so... Honestly, you don't even need to with the smile.
No,
because he's got, like, the crazy smile. You don't even need it.
He doesn't, but, like, think of how much more badass it would have been if he had this really quiet with his head down. He just said that, he said persona.
Yes,
and then he looks up and he's got the fucking grin.
Yes, I know. But I don't know, it's cool to just kind of, like, to me, it was a good way to kind of establish that he's different than the other two.
Yeah.
But that whole scene is super good, even though, again, it didn't need to be an anime cutscene. Honestly, it would have looked cool.
Didn't.
It would have looked way cooler in the CGI, like the high-res models instead, because those models look amazing! I can't really, like, stress that enough, how good those models look, because, like, they're contrasting colors, and they have really dramatic facial expressions, and just the actual way they've been rendered looks really good compared to the anime cutscenes, blah 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 blah. Yeah, like, just put the whole fucking game in those models. It's okay, Atlas. You don't need to give us anime cutscenes anymore. We're in the future now.
and even the mask ripping off is the best, because, like, they're all screaming, their eyes all bug out.
I know.
There's that red kind of blood, but not really.
Not real blood.
That's, like, connecting the mask, and it's just like,
and
I wish Haru and Futaba had gotten that too.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
But, like, the problem is that, like, Haru already kind of half had a persona.
Yeah, I do.
And, like,
love...
Futaba.
What?
I was gonna say that Futaba kind of pulled a P4 to get hers.
Yeah, she pulled a P4, which was cool. Plus, I just like Necronomicon, like, literally abducting her.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I loved that bit. So like, you know, it was a trade-off. Plus, I really like Futaba's, the lines her persona has. I just think they're really, because it's very like a computer. Like, she's kind of like talking to a computer, which is really cool because it's very like cut and dry. So like, you know, you didn't necessarily, but I do wish Haru had gotten a face ripping scene, just because it's Haru and she's such a delicate lady that it would have been cool to have her have that moment of like super rawness. But even then, she got gun skirt, so it's okay.
Yeah.
She got gun skirt, and gun skirt is amazing. Fuck, what else? I really could.
I'm really glad we got villains this time.
Hey, fuck yeah, we actually have bad guys in this game instead of just like one asshole and a bored god of death, you know? Like real legitimate villains. I mean, like, yeah, Adachi is a real legitimate villain, but, you know, he's still got a redemption thing.
Man, fuck, dude, it's fun to hate people sometimes. And, like, Kamoshida and Shido and Okumura, like, it's real fucking easy to hate those guys.
Real fucking easy to really, really hate all of those guys. Especially, I like the... Okay, I don't mean this, but I mean this. When I say that they went too hard with Kamoshida to be the first one, like, it was totally perfect that they went so hard with Kamoshida as the first one because it let you know exactly what kind of game you're getting into. It told you exactly what kind of video game Persona 5 was going to be from, like, pretty much the word go. You're like, we're real fucking Megaten right now. Okay. But they went so hard with making Kamoshida unlikable that the next two are just so whatever in comparison.
They're not, like, maybe because I'm not an artist, and, like, so I don't really have that perspective, but, like, plagiarism does not feel like nearly as big a problem as literally everyone else in the party is doing.
Yeah, it's, kind of, I think it's partly because, like, we really don't get a good perspective. Like, there's the implication that, like, Madarame beats his students, but nothing in Yusuke's social link even suggests that's true.
Yusuke's, like, at most, it seems like Madarame was, like, a really, really harsh critic.
Right.
Or, like, he was kind of, like, really demanding of their progress, and maybe he was, like, verbally abusive in that regard.
Right.
But, like, Yusuke at never point ever mentions anything like that.
Right. There's no implication of physical abuse. There's no... You know, the atelier, the shack, it's like a big shack, but it's still, you know, decent on the inside. It's not completely run down. It's kind of gross. It's kind of old, but it's not horrible. So it's not like unsafe living conditions or anything like that. Because clearly Madarame was keeping his work and his dozens of fake Sayuris in the atelier. So obviously it was still secure enough that it wasn't like a dangerous place to live, you know? So like... Madarame just felt like a really weak follow-up to Shido, and I guess Shido. Kamoshida, same kind of syllables.
Yeah.
It's a Kamoshida, and it's like you can't... I guess it would have been ridiculous to keep escalating, like, these people's horribleness.
Yeah, and I'm like, if a guy like Madarame were like, in P4 or P3, you'd be like, oh, this guy's heinous.
He's a monster, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, in comparison to sexually assaulting his students or attempting to sell high schoolers into sex slavery, like, there's not really a contest between that.
Yeah,
like,
between
Madarame
plagiarism and yeah.
Like, plagiarism sucks, don't get me wrong, and,
For
like,
sure.
you know, like, stealing your students' work and, like, getting mad profit off of, you know, copyright infringement and all that, like, it's pretty bad, pretty shitty.
Pretty fucked up.
Doesn't match.
Nope. Yeah. And I mean, like, Kanashiro is just kind of like whatever. Like, we got Makoto out of Kanashiro, and that's kind of like the only thing that really. Kanashiro is such a non-entity, like, in comparison to the others.
Like, what he represents, because it's not like a personal direct tie to the party.
Right.
He does not have the same effect that the other villains do, who are directly connected to the party.
Right. He's just
like,
kind of a jerk.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he is just someone that Makoto got wrapped up into, like, in real time. Like, it wasn't like a previous arrangement they had or something.
Right. So, you know, kind of a stumbling, but they're still all total assholes, and it's nice to have a whole group of total assholes to hate.
Yeah.
And the Grand King of Shit Mountain is definitely Masayoshi Shida.
Oh my
Shida,
god, yeah.
Who can just eat my ass. Him and Kamoshida can go fuck themselves off a cliff for all I care. Because they are definitely the most repugnant of people in the game. In a game full of terrible, terrible people, you two take the crown. Congratulations!
But, fucking, like,
Oh
as
God.
much of an asshole as he is and how much I hate him, holy shit, the second and third rounds was boss fight are so fucking cool.
All of his boss fight rounds are so good because, like, when he's on the big fucking monster thing, that is, the design there is so solid. Oh my god. And then, like, when you're just fighting him, like, just a dude, one-on-one, oh my god, shut up. Like,
When he's just punching you with his giant muscles.
his giant nanomachines muscles.
Oh, like, that's what I texted you. I said, don't fuck with this senator.
Senator.
Because that's exactly what it is.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
He's Senator fucking Armstrong from
That's
Metal
it.
Gear Rising.
That's it, for sure. And I mean, like, and he even turns kind of red, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's
It's so fucking
ridiculous.
good. And it felt so satisfying to just, like, watch him crumble.
Oh, and to just stomp him repeatedly.
Yeah. Where he's, even the part where he's like, aha, I stopped my heart. They didn't do it, right? Oh, they did it.
No.
Oh, no. Oh,
Sorry,
no.
asshole. Sorry, asshole. Fuck you. So, yeah, just... And God, his dungeon is so good, too. Oh, my God.
Oh, fucking the cruise ship is so fucking
The
great.
cruise ship is so good. Oh, my God. The mouse gimmick was... Wait.
A little weird.
A little weird. Could
I
have
would have
without
expected it in a different dungeon, not like the final lead up dungeon. It feels like a little bit like comic relief. Like it would have been good in like Okumura's dungeon, where like hey, the working conditions are so bad in here that mice are getting into the production line.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Right.
Like having it on a cruise ship is like, well, this is like it. And you're gonna pull a weird jokey thing on us?
Like you're gonna give me jokey jokes right now when I'm just still kind of like pissed off about all this shit you're doing and the fact that you like tried to kill me and like all that stuff, you know?
Granted, Yusuke's lines in that are
his
fast,
puns. I
love
knew you were gonna bring those
I
fucking
love them
puns
so
up.
much.
What's he say? My advice would be to pro squeak.
My advice would be pro squeak with caution.
and
no one reacts.
No
and he's
one
like,
reacts.
I said we should pro squeak with caution. As much as I love puns, nothing makes me laugh harder than a pun going flat and then the guy repeating the joke. I love...
It's a good gag. It's a good gag. It holds up in court.
I love it. And, like, the fact that it comes from Yusuke of all people
I know,
is, like,
who's
the best.
so proper.
Like, there's been no, like, Yusuke's a weirdo for sure, but, like, there's been no previous, like, hint that he's, like, a joke kind of guy.
Like a pun guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so, oh my god, I was just like, that was good.
It's good. It's a good joke, even if puns are dumb. Even if puns are super, super dumb. So, like, but yeah, the mice bit was kind of weird, but, like, the rest of it was super good, and boy, that theme is amazing, because it's so dramatic, and, oh man, all of the boss fights are all really good, but let's give a special shout out to Shadow Sei having the most fun goddamn boss fight in the game.
Oh, that gimmick is so cool!
It's so good! Oh my god!
And dude, her fucking boss design is awesome!
Oh, it's so rad. Because the cool thing I noticed is it kind of reminds you of Makoto's, because it's both like the spiky post-apocalyptic armored bitch look.
You're
you know?
right.
Yeah. See? So there's kind of like a callback to like Makoto's cool, like, what's fucking shit. Ryuji calls her a Miss Post-Apocalyptic Raider, and I'm like, I love you, kid. So it's like a cool little callback, but she looks like a fucking Silent Hill monster, where Makoto looks amazing. And just the gambling gimmick was so fun, and I mean, it was just, I love it when a game kind of throws a little gimmick at you, you know, like just
like
kind of a way to mix things
a
up.
battle gimmick like that.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Oh, just so good to just a way to kind of change things up a little bit from it's like Okumura's is so whatever.
Okumura's is weird, but it's kind of anticlimactic, but Sais more than makes up for it by just being
sure.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, for everything that's kind of weird about that whole section of around Haru, as much as I love Haru, there's a lot of weird pacing going on there.
Yeah.
And a lot of poor storytelling decisions, and that whole kind of build up is
Haru, it's kind of disappointing because Haru really got kind of
the shaft.
All the bad parts of the story, the bad writing parts, happen around her. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it just escalates to the point of insanity, and it's great. But she got such a weak introduction, and it's no wonder that the fandom hasn't quite clicked
latched
with
on
her yet.
Yeah, I love her, but
it'll happen. It'll happen eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Once more people play it, and more people get a feel for her. But she really got the short end of the stick when it comes to getting proper development and a proper introduction.
Yeah, they tried to Naoto her, but it didn't work because Naoto was in the game from basically the beginning. But Haru is only in one rando cutscene before she shows up again. So it's such a strange storytelling decision. But we'll get into that more next week, probably.
When we do her character breakdown. But everything after that is just so good.
The minute you know who kills Okumura, everything from that moment on is the craziest shit, because you're just that because I didn't see that part coming at all. Oh my god, I did not expect that one bit. It's we stole the treasure, we're gonna leave, and just we're gonna let Haru's dad's shadow ruminate on what he did, and let's go fucking party, all that good stuff. And then oh shit, that's why you always stick around to the end, guys.
Yep.
Oh my god, yeah, it was and from then on, the story just goes balls to the wall, crank it up to 11, right up until the end, and then it kind of stumbles, and then it finds its feet again. So good, because a lot of the Mementos depths are kind of a drag. The area looks cool, but it's a lot of the info dump.
The puzzle bit is a little weird.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like that cutscene where you see everyone.
I don't.
But I don't think it's that bad, because I don't think they were trying to redeem the villains in any way. I think they were just because it wasn't what have we done to these bad people? It's wait, what is happening?
Yeah, I get that for sure, but it's still kind of a weird Aesop when you also throw in the whole dead teenager thing. Which Maya won't get too deep into the bitterness this time, but kind of bitter. Because it's a weird, you kind of have a weird story to be, the theming in that moment is a little odd. Because it's kind of society is a prison, and either you lash out against it and you get booted out, and then eventually you either are booted out and gain a persona, or you get kicked back in and are locked up again, or you die? It's kind of...
I'm gonna have to get back to that point in the game and pay more attention to the dialogue, and then we'll be I'll have a better opinion of that. But I think as much as as obvious as it was that Akechi is the traitor, they could not have made it any more obvious that Igor is evil.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job of that one.
They to the point where they didn't even really try to hide it.
Yeah.
They tried to hide Akechi and make that kind of a twist. You could see it coming, but you could tell that they wanted it to be a surprise is what happened.
I think
the fact that Igor is evil and an imposter is like, if you played Persona 4, you'd be like, oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
But the thing is, I think it was still, like, a clever thing. I really like the Igor twist, not because I didn't see it coming, but because, like, the deal is that, yeah, if you've played Persona, then you saw it coming. But Persona 5 has already outsold Persona 4. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, there are more people who are new to the franchise now. So, it was obviously a way to kind of play with those expectations, you know?
And the thing is, like, I loved it. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved that Igor was, like, evil in this. Because, for one thing, and I've said this a few times in Persona 4, I absolutely love the fact that the real Igor is on your side, undoubtedly. Yeah. Like, he's 100% on your team no matter what. He's a guy who's kind of spooky and, like, weird-looking and mysterious, but he is, without a doubt, in your corner. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they mixed that up, and they gave you a fake Igor, and, like, to the fans, they're like, you know. But, like, to a new player, they would have no idea what's coming.
Right. And it's kind of a good way to kind of, like, give, like, a wink and a nudge to fans and still kind of surprise new people and kind of let them know, like, hey, you're new to the franchise. This is what the franchise is. Like, Persona 5 is a good crash course into Mega 10 in general, in a way, because it's kind of like, it's about, like, the gods meddling in the lives of mortals and all this shit, and, you know, it's about, like, fate and destiny and the people you know and all these kind of crazy things like that, and weird twists are gonna happen, stuff like that, you know? And so, like, the Igor thing is a good crash course in, like, welcome to Mega 10. Here's your box of tissues. You're gonna need it to cry a lot because the games are either gonna hurt you or hurt your feelings. So, you know, it's either gonna make you cry because it's hard, like Nocturne, or you're gonna cry because you're sad, like in certain parts of Persona 4 and 5. So, you know, welcome to Mega 10, kids.
And, like, all of it was worth it. Like, the whole Igor thing is, like, it doesn't happen until the very end of the game. But to hear the real Igor...
Oh, I know.
Welcome to the Velvet Room.
Even though it's Kirk Thornton this time, which was weird. But still, like, a great... Just such a good moment. It felt like such a true... And the fact that after you get the real Igor, the door between you and Igor is open in the Velvet Room.
Exactly.
I love that, because that's Igor. Like, that's how, like, okay, so the Velvet Room is based off the state of the mind of whoever is within it, right? So, like... Right, exactly. The joke is, you know, like I said, the jokey joke is that the persona is... Minato's is an elevator that's always moving because he's never settled anywhere. Akira's is a prison cell because he feels repressed, and, you know, Soji's is a limousine because he's a fucking baller and everybody loves it. Exactly. That's the joke I saw on Tumblr. That, you know, but even then, so, like, yeah, Akira feels repressed, and so the Velvet Room represents itself as a prison. But, like, even if it had represented itself as a prison, like, the real Igor would have had that door open the whole time, you know?
Exactly. Because that would approach is... You're a prisoner, yes, but you can leave at any time.
Right. It's all up, it's kind of like up to you if you want to leave, you know? And so, like, the whole point of, like, Igor would have been, like, the true Igor is, like, you and I are here to teach you that you are worthy of going back out into the world and reclaiming, you know, the life that was basically stolen from you by this bald asshole. But, like, the fake Igor is like, no, you belong in this prison and you need to be rehabilitated, so we're gonna put a door between you and me. Plus, it also means he's gotta put the space between him and Akira in the form of a door. That means I'm not gonna let you get too close because you might realize that I'm a fake if I let you too close to me.
Exactly.
And
it's so good.
The little hints, if you are not a Persona fan, that Igor is evil, are the best. Like the fact that if you don't know anything about Persona, then you don't know that Igor in the last 2 games personally does the fusions.
Yeah.
Like, but in this game he doesn't.
His assistants aren't part of that.
Right. In this game, he doesn't do the fusions because he's not Igor and he doesn't have that ability, so you have to do the executions instead. That is so fucking clever.
Which does make it weird that Lavenza does the executions after you get her.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, like, at that point you probably most likely won't be doing a lot of fusing.
Yeah.
And they probably didn't want to design a whole new animation for a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Which they could have because they're Atlus and they love doing shit like that, but...
but we're not going to fault them for it.
Yeah.
So we're going to let that one slide. But maybe for the inevitable Persona 5 Switch, we'll get more animations from Lavenza and Igor. I actually did not see the Lavenza twist coming at all, by the way.
No, I didn't either. Well, here's the thing is, I saw a picture of Lavenza, and what I thought that was their boss fight for completing the strength confidant.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
I thought they would be like, okay, you've done it. Now we will fuse into our true form.
Oh yeah.
I didn't think she was trapped as split into two. I thought she was holding herself back.
I could see that, yeah, for sure. I saw Lavenza's portrait in I was like Google searching with the twins because I wanted to see what their concept art looked like, and I saw like Lavenza's portrait, and I honest to God thought it was a fan portrait because I was just like, I thought it was like some design of like, you know, a hypothetical fan thing or whatever. Right, like before we knew what the twins looked like, somebody drew a hypothetical, you know, Velvet Room assistant for Persona 5 like they do on the internet, you know. I didn't think it was real because, you know, I just was like, whoa, that's the twins. We have the twins, Justine and Caroline. You know, they're perfectly fine. Why would we need a third Velvet Room assistant? Surprise! They are the third Velvet Room attendant.
Maybe the real Velvet Room assistant was the friend we made all along.
That's actually true. And I do love Lavenza. I like that she yells at Ryuji for being a loudmouth. It's probably one of my favorite things she does. When she's just would you shut up and listen?
I love the whole party gets to be in on that. I
do too. It's really cool to actually let the party inside the Velvet Room. Like, because we kind of got a hint of, like, other people who aren't fools knowing about the Velvet Room, or the people inside the Velvet Room in the Golden. Because in, you know, Margaret is the one who takes you to Marie's, the Hall of Forest.
Yeah, so they get to at least meet Margaret, but they don't actually go to the Velvet Room, but yeah.
Right. And so, like, now it's like a further step toward, like, hey, everybody's in the Velvet Room with you now.
Yeah. And it's also that, like, those two things confirm that, no, at no point do Akira or Soji tell the others about the Velvet Room.
Right, yeah, so, like, it's still, like, a shock to them. And, I mean, just, you know, it was cool to know that there are other prison cells and stuff like that. To know that it was just, like, a huge, kind of like a prison complex. Persona 5 and all your beautiful symbolism and all of your little hints and thingies leading up to the moment, and God, I just love you.
Oh, it's so good.
Although, can I bitch about one thing since we're here?
Yeah.
And I have it in our notes.
Go ahead.
I really got to get it off my chest before we call it quits because we're pushing 2 hours. If I wanted to play Persona 4's Endgame, I would play Persona 4's Endgame. Like,
yeah, I agree that I don't like how Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth, that's it. Yeah, Yaldabaoth is basically a recycling of Izanami.
It's the Izanami plot twist all over again, but they just removed Namatame from the equation because everybody only cares about Soji and Adachi in Persona 4. So they were just kind of like, hey, let's do it again. You know what would have been really cool, Ben?
What's that?
Is if Akechi had survived to tell the god that is fucking with his life to go fuck itself. Like,
yeah.
That would have been different, because instead, you know, because like in Persona 4, it's like, hey, you are the only one of everybody in my game. You are the one who survived to the end, child of man. Congratulations, you know? Like, that would have been a moment. That was kind of like the whole point, is that, like, Soji won. But, like...
Yeah, exactly.
So to have it kind of play out exactly the same way in P5 was just kind of weird. It was like basically a recycling of like that exact moment.
it was just like that. It was just like a rehash of the same. It was the problem I had with Akechi, which was I hope they don't rehash Persona 4.
Yeah, and they didn't until they did.
Yeah, they didn't there. And then they kind of, like, but, like, this one isn't as bad because, like, it's not really that much of a twist.
Yeah. But
it's just, like, here is the real villain's real motivation. Like, it's not, like, shocking plot twist. It's, here's the answer.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's not as egregious, but that combined with the fact that the final boss still kind of reminds me of the Izanami fight.
Yeah, oh yeah, it is very much like the Izanami fight, like...
With more status effects.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it should have had its own unique boss music, or Shido should have had his own unique boss music. Like, that's like kind of like my like thing, you know?
Yeah.
But otherwise, perfectly fine. That's kind of like, there's like a few parts in the end game where it stumbles, and then you shoot God in the face with a bullet made out of sin.
Yeah! Oh my god, that part is so cool. And I know you hate it, but everyone in Tokyo is cheering you on while you do it. And it shows all your socially drumming up hype. And I'm like, I was just like the hypest ever.
I thought I was gonna die. I literally.
And I know you hate those things, but I like that one better than 4 because 4's was like in Soji's mind. That, like, he's like, you know, like, I didn't, like, but I liked the fact that in 5 it was like, like, the part where Mishima's question on the fan site goes to 100%.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, that part was dope because it led up to the single coolest moment in the game. Oh my god. But, like, the part where everybody's cheering and jumping around and screaming.
I love it.
I'm a cynical old lady, Ben.
I eat it up.
I know you do.
I
know you do. You came to mind when I was at this part because I was watching it and I was like, I hate this. And then I thought, Ben is going to love this.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
You motherfucker. It was horrible. I was in physical pain. But fortunately, we then shot God in the face with a gun made out of sin. So it worked out. Because that's my shit right there. That whole sequence and the part... Fuck, it's so goddamn cool. It's the part where he snaps the chain and everybody's like, did it work? And you think like,
yes!
It didn't work. And then the camera zooms out and it shows that all of the Phantom Thieves are standing in a line together with Akira in the center. That is a power pose right there, my friend. Fuck, that was so badass. Like,
it was so fucking cool.
So fucking cool. Like, just the moment. And the fact that Sataneo is so big that when he ascends from the heavens or comes up from hell, I don't know, he makes like a noise. Like, he's so big that like the air is being displaced by his presence. Like, that's how you know, holy shit, you know?
It was such a fucking Choginga Gurren Lagann moment.
It totally is. And the fact that and the fact that Sataneo strikes that cool like pose with the gun where he's kind of got like one hip cocked out and like he's got like the gun raised with one hand and it does the thing where it kind of shoots him from like a 3/4 view so you can see like his full badass manliness. It's so cool. Take a shot every time we say cool in this podcast. You die.
Well, out of all the games we've done podcasts for, this is the one that deserves it the most because this game, like you said, this game bleeds aesthetic.
It just radiates cool for sure. Like, that's its whole purpose, is to just let Atlus go completely fucking hog wild with the already established Persona aesthetic and just take it even further than it's already been. Like, yeah, that's the whole point. Oh my god, it's the best. It's the best. We're gonna have to talk about this more. We are at the 2-hour mark, and
I know
we're not done.
So next week will be character breakdown for the party.
Yep.
And then if we need more filler episodes or whenever we decide, we'll need to do social or confidants breakdowns.
That'll be a short episode.
And then like just more general like because this game has way more plot in it than 4.
Yeah, it's got a lot of plot. There's a lot going on. Honestly, like, yeah. There's a ton of plot.
We'll need to do a more like just like actual plot like discussion.
Mm-hmm. And,
instead of just us hyping out over cool moments.
But we needed to get this off our chest.
Oh yeah, we needed to like let this out so that we can have more pleasant discussions later.
And so we can talk like normal people about Persona 5 at some point. Instead of just spending 2 hours going, ah! You know? Okay.
Oh, fuck, I love Persona 5. I'm gonna play more Persona 5 as soon as we're done here.
Fuck, I know, right? So, yeah. God.
Thanks to Visitor for use of our background music. Link to his work in the description. We have a Twitter. It's at The Gorge Podcast. You can follow us on Tumblr at thegorgepodcast@tumblr.com. Oh, crap. You know what? We have an email.
Oh, yeah.
Our email address is thegorgepodcast@gmail.com, and we actually have a Persona message from someone.
Shut up!
So we can... Yeah, we actually got one. So, let me pull that up. I almost forgot about it. I'm glad I remembered. Okay. This is from Nikki.
Okay.
And he says, your podcast makes my workday go by so much quicker. Aww. My favorite episodes have been the Persona 4 breakdowns. I can't wait until you get to talk about Persona 5. I'm about 60 hours into it myself. At this point in the game, I hate Morgana. What a brat. I was actually pretty happy about him getting kicked into a wall, and I love cats. I hope I like him by the end. Keep up the good work, guys. Your podcast is a hidden gem among video game podcasts.
Aww.
So thank you for that, and I hope you did like Morgana at the end, because I really like Morgana.
I really like Morgana, just because, like, Morgana is a good inverse of Teddy to be a smart mascot character instead of a dumb one.
Right, exactly. Like, he's still like a weird jokey mascot dude, but he's actually really, really clever when it comes down to it.
And very competent, and I love competency in my JRPG protagonists, so hopefully you like Morgana at the end of it, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I can't imagine why you wouldn't.
Thank you, though, for telling us
yeah,
our hidden
thank
gem.
you.
You're beautiful. Whoever you are, we love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad we can make your day go by quicker, because that's what podcasts are for. And
boy, do we know anything about slow-ass work days. So yeah, dude. Yeah. So yeah, we have you should, if you're listening, you should email us as well, and we will read it on the air and tell you how beautiful you are.
That's thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. And Nikki, if you need another podcast to listen to, Sarah has a podcast.
Oh, what a good setup. Hey, I have another podcast. It's called Big Gay Nerds. It's an LGBT live play RPG podcast where me and a bunch of other queer friends sit around and play various and sundry types of tabletop RPGs. It's a lot of fun. We're playing Monster Hearts again right now. It's a blast. You should come listen to us. We're at SoundCloud at Big Gay Nerds. We're on Twitter at Big Gay Nerds. We're on Tumblr at Big Gay Nerds. If you Google it, it'll come up. So yeah, come listen to us. Thanks.
Next, like we said, next week will be
more
Persona 5, and hopefully Saturn from Big Gay Nerds will be there to join us to talk about the characters.
We'll hopefully, and I should actually probably text them later and be like, "Are you cool with that?" Make sure.
Yeah. So no promises, because we're still kind of figuring out their schedule.
But anyways,
hopefully they'll be on there. So
is that it?
I think now the hardest part about this call out is which one do we do?
Let's do Kamoshida this time, because we'll hit Shido when we talk about Akechi.
Yeah, okay. So that'll be it from us. Fuck Kamoshida.
Boy, fuck Kamoshida. Like, god damn. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.